Okay, well, all glories to Mother Natasha, all glories to Religion of Love, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the Supreme Lord. Jai. So, where we leave off at? Just after teachings on chanting. Then from the side where the women sat, a shy voice softly said, "And of equality?" But before she could finish, a man's voice did command her to keep quiet. "Why to keep quiet?" another woman asked. "Have we no mind that we must sit silent? Have we no soul that we might not be enlightened? For thousands of years women have been denied power by men. Even in the house of God are we caged and cut out. I too follow this new doctrine, and know this has she publicly condemned, saying, by whose authority are only half the believers welcome in the house of God, when God himself welcomes all. And she too welcomes all, for she sees as God sees, as we are all meant to see. I have heard her say, and know it to be true, I see neither Hindu, Muslim, Christian, nor Jew. I see only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither European, nor Arabian, American, nor African, only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither black nor white, rich nor poor, man nor woman, friend nor enemy. I see only the eternal spiritual soul, the beloved lover of God. Back to this part, and of equality. The guy commands her to be quiet. Why to keep quiet? For thousands of years women have been denied power by men. Even in the house of God are we caged and cut out. Well, that's why they call it history, right? It's his story. Well, this is true. Women have been caged and cut out of religion in many houses of worship around the world. Men and women are separated. They're segregated from one another. In fact, in many mosques I've been to in the East, there literally is a cage separating the two in the house of God. Or in some cases, women not even allowed at all. In some houses of worship, right? And look at the hierarchy of religious organizations. Usually pretty masculine. Not too many women in the higher echelon of the Vatican, or in the higher leadership, realms of many religious organizations. And women are usually cut out. It's mostly a boys' club. And that's not got nothing to do with what God gave. That's just man. That's just mankind in his own ignorance. The boys' club, bigotry. The lady says, have we no mind that we must sit silent? Have we no soul that we might not be enlightened? I mean, yeah. There's nothing barring anybody from enlightenment. Not by any material designation. No. It is only by one's qualifications that one should be judged, and which is going to help them be successful in spiritual life. One's inner qualities. One's outer designations, such as, what type of body you have, the color of your skin, the gender of your genitalia, or your interests, what nationality you are from where you happen to be born in that body, what religion you are from, what group you hail from, mostly. These are outer designations pertaining to the temporary body, which is not really us. Remember, Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. They're not descriptions of the real us, because these designations are all temporary. It's like you're at an event, a big volunteer event, and someone puts a name tag on you and gives you a job, and now you are in charge of doorkeeping, right? So you're the doorkeeper at this event, and so people say, "Oh, you're the doorkeeper." Now, you know that you're just temporarily acting as the doorkeeper for this, one-time event. But you go along with it, yeah, I'm the doorkeeper, but you know that you're not the doorkeeper guy. That's not who you are. It's not your real identity. That's just a temporary role that you are assuming at this particular event. Crude example just came to my mind. Well, that's kind of like how we are in these bodies. To put some faith into this body thinking that it is us, no, it's just a temporary role, temporary designations of our bodies. Who cares? It's just the body, It's just like a work uniform, whatever. It's what you got to wear. We all have bodies. You're going to be in this material world. We take on material forms, and the forms appear differently, but they're not really us, and they're temporary, and they're always changing. They're always changing. Reincarnation, it's a thing. It is a thing. And real simple way to explain it. Why is someone born in a rich family, someone born poor? Why is someone born beautiful? Why is someone born ugly? Why is someone born with great intelligence and some dim-witted? Born into a peaceful land or born into a war-torn region? You think it's just random chaos? Roll of the dice? Chance? No. It's because of your karma from your past life. Pretty much. How else are you going to explain that? Well, it's, of course, explained exactly as such. In fact, far further detail in the Holy Scriptures, particularly the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. It used to be in the Bible, until they took it out in the Second Council of Nicaea. They didn't remove all traces of it, but, that's another story. Now, back to this. Women being caged out, cut out of religion. Yeah. This has kind of been the unfortunate reality where people are judged not by their qualifications, but just by their bodily designations, which is a very gross form of ignorance. To judge someone by how you look, what body you have. It's very, very, very ignorant, very dark, quite demonic, when every single heart is worthy of love. Because God Himself welcomes all of us. Not a select group, not an elite few, not only one particular denomination. Everybody God welcomes home. Everyone, because everyone is his son and daughter. We are all children of the same one God. So, by whose authority are women denied positions of prestige or leadership, or even proper respect? By whose authority? Not God's. God is an equal opportunity employer. If you can do the job, you can get the job. I want to tell you a little interesting stuff about women being denied, the truth of certain things. In fact, for a long time, in many countries, women, weren't allowed. In fact, most people in general weren't even allowed to read the scriptures in their native tongue. And since women were generally not educated, women couldn't read the holy books or read any books. Therefore, they just had to depend upon whatever was said to them, usually by a man. Always by a man, right? Oof. And because of man's own ignorance and bigotries, instead of being protectors to women, men end up victimizing women. Even their reputations, not just their bodies, but even their good name, such as Mary of Magdala. Mary of Magdala, in the Bible, if you know, was labeled a prostitute. And if you know the story, she comes upon Jesus when he is amongst all elders and Pharisees of the temple, and she falls at his feet, and from the torrents of tears from her eyes, she washed his feet and then dried them with her hair and anointed the feet with oil. It's a beautiful scene from the Bible. And I might as well finish the story. And Jesus says, "Daughter, your sins are forgiven you. Go and sin no more." In a sense, she's initiated right then and there by Jesus, by her own act of love. Anywho, Mary was one of the disciples of Jesus. We know of 12, but really there was 13. They kind of cut Mary out. And Mary was actually one of his closest disciples. She and Peter. In fact, so close that she stood by Lord Jesus Christ as he was on the cross, while all the other disciples fled and ran. They all went into hiding. John does show up with Mary, the mother of Jesus, but Mary of Magdala, she was there the whole time. And after 3 days, when Lord Jesus Christ rose again from death, rose again in the body, the resurrection, He revealed himself first unto Mary. Now, you can see how the mind, blinded by pride in these men, may get a little, well, they might feel their ego bruise a little bit, and they might be a little envious of all the attention that this woman is getting from the Master, from Jesus. So, what do men do? Well, they can't just write her out of history. She's too influential. You can't just say she never existed, right? When the men go to write in the books. So, what do? They discredit her by saying before Jesus she was a whore. And then that's the miracle, the penance and surrender unto Jesus Christ. She became, a devotee and gave up her sinful ways. And that's beautiful, yeah. And that's true for many, but wasn't for Mary of Magdala. She was a very pious soul. This is all hogwash. It's all his story. This saying right here from Mother Natasha, I see neither Hindu, Muslim, Christian, nor Jew. I see only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither European, nor Arabian, American, nor African. I see only the eternal spiritual soul. I see neither black, nor white, rich, nor poor, man, nor woman, friend, nor enemy. I see only the eternal spiritual soul, the beloved lover of God. Rajak says, I have heard her say and know it to be true. Yeah, this is not just a bumper sticker for her. Mother Natasha really lived this. She did. I saw in practice by her words and actions on every occasion. She treated everyone equally. And she gave everyone equal love. She didn't put any consideration of one's outer bodily designations. She looked straight to the heart. The real you. Not the temporary volunteer role for this event. Not the temporary identity you have now in your current body, which lasts what? Up to 100 years max, if you're lucky? Compare 100 years to the grand, endless span of eternal time. What is this little lifetime? It's poof! Not even a cough, not even a hiccup. It's nothing. Not even a blip on the radar in this grand scheme of eternity. This is not the real us. And honestly, putting so much wasted time and energy squabbling and fighting and bickering and over-maintaining these material bodies. Such an unholy distraction, let me tell you. It's not the real us. This is not real consciousness. This is material consciousness. Seeing everything as you perceive it from your material mind, through your material senses, through your own experiences with this body and mind. But all that's on the material plane. All you're relating to is the material bodies of other people. You relate just to your body. You think, I am this body, so I am a man. I am American. I'm a dude. I'm from the West Coast. I can give all these different. You can say, oh, he's a liberal. He's a conservative. He's a this. He's a that. My goodness. You go to some of these Discord servers, all these different religious, like interfaith Discord servers, oh my goodness, the amount of labels and roles and tags and all the different sects and this and that. It's like, boom, all these labels, all these outer designations, all of these things related to the body, when there only is one. Only one designation: eternal spiritual soul, beloved lover of God. It's everybody. We're all eternally servitors of the Lord. And these outer designations of the body, oof, so what? It's not really a big deal. In fact, great saints and sages, they don't put much mind or energy towards the body, except for just minimal maintenance. You got to keep body and soul together. So just maintain the body, and be content with whatever God sends, and just really devote all your time and energy towards spiritual realization, realizing these teachings, actually experiencing this for yourself. This is nice. This whole colorblind kind of like, everybody's equal, yay, is nice in theory, but this is secondhand knowledge, mind you. For Mother Vitasha and for great purified devotees, this is how they actually see everyone on this planet. They truly do see everyone as brother and sisters, all eternal spirit souls. And for us to actually see with that vision, to come to that realization within the heart, to realize our actual own selves as eternal spirit souls, the beloved lovers of God. Well, that's what the work is. That's the grinding, the daily spiritual practices, your sadhana, your daily bread, nourishing your soul every day, hearing, chanting, remembering God. Clean, clean, clean the dust from the mirror of the mind. Then you can see as God sees when you spiritualize your vision. So yeah, really, men and women, this or that, whatever, doesn't matter in terms of spiritualization, who is qualified, who can or cannot be, a spiritual teacher, for example. My master had a woman's body, right? Or that a woman can't be a great disciple of Jesus Christ. Of course, all these things are possible. It's not by designation, but by qualifications that one is judged. So Mother Vitasha, she welcomed everybody, as does God welcome everybody. He wants every single one of us to come home. And whether you call yourself a Muslim, or a Christian, or Hindu, or a Jew, or a Buddhist, or any name of any religion given by God, practice that religion of yours purely. Purely. And you'll come to love. Love of God. And love once reaches love. God once reaches God. And every single eternal spiritual soul, is deserving of God's love, is deserving of all our love. I know I'm speaking about love a lot, love, love, love. Oh hey, what's this next teaching? Tell us a little bit about the word love. Got a few minutes left. And there was a woman, great in beauty, with jewels in her ears and gold upon her wrists, who asked of love. I have searched, she said, for love everlasting, and find it not, and now know only the days of desolation, the nights alone, so that I am sick at heart and seek a cure. And she answered the woman, what is called love is often not love at all, but a business arrangement, a bargain at best that says, I will love you as long as you please me. When you no longer please me, I divorce you. Or, I will be your friend as long as you do what I want. When you no longer do what I want, the friendship is finished. The friend has become the enemy. In this way has the world become broken-hearted. For love is not of the world, but of the Spirit. And you who seek outside yourselves for love, look in the wrong place, for already are you love. Look instead for places where you may give love, for love is not love until it is given. And in giving, know the things of the world are limited and temporary, and bind one to suffering. Give then that which is unlimited and eternal, and frees one from suffering. Give God. Anything less is not love. This woman searched for love everlasting and found it not. What is called love is often not love at all, but a business arrangement. Yeah, this is not love, this is lust. This is, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I want something out of this, I want something for myself. If I no longer get that thing that I want, well, they say the fire went out or the love was lost. No, it means that you got bored, or your desires changed, you didn't get what you wanted. It was all material lust. Because if it was love, it would have lasted. Not only lasted, it would have increased. Such is the nature of love, the eternal, ecstatic, spiritual love of God. So this is not love. Love doesn't have all these conditions. There's no conditions for God to love all of us. He loves all of us unconditionally. These types of friendships or marriages or partnerships, where people are just looking to squeeze some sense pleasure out of them, blaming them for their unhappiness, making them responsible for your happiness. This is not love. This is just more of that material illusion, thinking that you're the body and trying to make all your goals in life just satisfying the senses of the body. Living with the head and the body not really in your heart, not really working towards the real purpose of life, that inquiry into who I really am, spirit, soul. Because that's not of this world, none of that. It's of the Spirit. That's where love everlasting exists, deep within our heart, ready to be awakened to the practice of devotional service, purifying our heart, coming again to love of God. Love is not love until it is given. It's beautiful. Already are you love. You already are a pure spirit soul. You just got to do the work to experience it. That's the process of enlightenment, purifying your heart. So just look instead for places where you can give love. And in giving do you receive. So give The greatest gift of all, give God. Give love. Oof. Okay, I'll stop there. Let me go ahead and pause this. There we go. Okay, start recording. Oh, here we go. All right. So, does anyone have any questions related to the class?
Do you think it's right that some temples separate like men and women on the kind of the idea that they are different, and so they're not treated unfairly, but they have different places of worship? If that makes sense. Or they have different times of the temples open.
Well, I understand the merit of keeping genders separate. You know, it's not about, we don't want like boys and girls fraternizing, for example. It's time of prayer, right? But of course, in amongst elderly, right? It's, but, in cultures, men and women probably feel even more comfortable just to be separate. They prefer it that way. It's not just enforced. Sometimes it's voluntary, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But things like put into institutional law, like women being forced to cover up, women being forced into, circumstances that are unfair or demeaning or demoralizing. That's not cool, right? But that's not even, it's not even like spiritual. That's just, common decency, right? So cultures that prefer, or individuals that prefer to be, keeping things separate, or for example, women or Muslim women who prefer to cover with hijab, that's their personal choice. That's all fine. To each their own. No problem with that. But it's when you force the knee to bend in the name of God. Now that's a little, they're getting a little full of themselves, a little high and mighty, right? For example, the whole thing with women being forced to cover up in Islam, for example. Well, that's actually a misconception. Where it originated from was with a very influential Muslim man in the community named Omar. And Omar was very jelly of his beautiful wife. And he was a bigoted man. He was still mined in ignorance. And he was a faithful devotee. He was a theist, but he was, Omar was Omar. And what Omar did was pretty shady. So he desired women to be covered up, because he just wanted his wife to be covered up, so no guys could be checking out his woman, basically. It was just his mentality, right? And during the time of prayer in the mosque, because at that time men and women prayed together in the mosque. There was no formal separation back then in the time of Prophet Muhammad, as far as I know. Not like enforced, right? And during the time of prayer, Omar had some goons, and from prior arrangement, he hired some goons to go into the mosque and to harass his wife his own wife. Yeah, like make sexual gestures, even pull out her dress. I mean, like make a big old scandalous, row of it. And Omar stands up like the hero, like the white knight. Oh, you see this? This is why we need to protect women. We need to protect them from these sinful men. We need to protect them by preserving their chastity and covering their beauty, so men will not lust after them, and keep them separate. So that way, any atrocities like this can never happen again. And then, in the name of protecting women, they were thus further segregated and now forced to adopt a specific set of cultural norms set by men like Omar. As far as dress goes in the Quran itself, actually, there's only one verse, as far as I know. And it says that men and women should dress modestly. That's it. Be a gentleman, be a lady, dress modestly. That's it. Don't say you have to, cover completely. Maybe just have a little eye slit, those big old burqas. You don't have to do that. If you want to do that, that's fine. Go nuts. Extremely hot, though. But a lot of women are forced to wear that, actually. Of course, the ones who choose it, more power to you. What I guess the point going to this saying is, it's not cool when people are forced to do things in the name of God. Because remember, we aim to serve God and follow His commandments out of love. And you can't force the heart to love. Can you just force someone to love you? It's probably not going to work out, is it? No, and you force people to do things. You force people to accept this or reject that. And you punish people for it. Now, not only you claim yourself to be the Lord's vicar, but you're His judge, jury, and executioner too. Wow. Oh, pretty high and mighty of yourselves, ain't it? Oh my goodness, that's that pride thing. Oof, that ignorance. Ouch. And ignorance in the name of religion, that is the oof. I've heard it tell that there is a special hell for those who mislead others on a spiritual path. Like, you do bad things, you're going to reap what you sow. But apparently the worst hell that one could ever experience is for religious misleaders who do not live teachings they themselves preach unto others. Do as I say, not as I do. Or worse, they change the words and say, yes, now I'm saying as I do. Not what God do, but, man writes the books. Man writes the history books. Man's pen, annotates the scriptures. I don't know of any scriptures translated by devotees in women bodies. It's not that we know of. It's always men, right? Maybe a woman never tried. I don't know. Why not? I don't know. Just saying. Anywho, back to your question. Variety is a spice of life. So people like to do things differently. It's fine. They can do things differently as long as they're not hurting anybody, or hurting themselves. And they're keeping the commandments of God, following scriptural injunctions. And if they want to do things, that are cultural and don't conflict with the scriptures, is fine. It doesn't say in the holy books that men and women need to be separated in the holy places. It doesn't say that. That's a cultural thing. That's a temporary, material, cultural, practice for this planet, related to these material bodies, which are temporary. Therefore, they're not eternal. They're just temporary, time and circumstance, right? The outer teachings of religion, the surface differences. Anywho, anyone have any other questions, or did that satisfy, or your question meet?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I also heard the story about the guy doing that to his wife. That was interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing how one bad apple can really ruin it for a lot of people, right? Oh boy, especially when that bad apple, starts making changes to your little rule book or something, Oh my goodness, then it gets put into practice, and oh no. Then it's what? The blind leading the blind till all end up in a ditch? Any other questions, brother? Or my wife also is on the class. Okay. Well, Well, first off, it sounds like a very silly practice. Who said that a woman's voice shouldn't be heard in the house of worship? Nonsense. Again, this is just bigoted, ignorant bullies. What it really is, they're just picking on someone weaker than themselves. They're just bullies. That's just nonsense. That's utter nonsense. So, if women are being turned off by going to the mosque, well, yeah. If these are the type of people running the place, and these are the people who are teaching there, yeah, I would be turned off, wouldn't you? People like that, who are bullies. How much love you think they have when the goal is love of God? You think I'm going to get love of God by some jerks? Remember, though you may pray aloud and become proficient upon the path, speaking much of scripture and whatnot, if you develop not love of God and the kindness to others which proves that love, though you may walk upon the path of God, you walk in the opposite direction, away from God. And that's what many religious folk are they're in that boat, blinded by their pride, their own ignorance. They have enough religion on the surface to make them hate, but not enough to love. And so, in their own pride, they commit so many sinful acts in the name of God. Right? God never sanctions this nonsense. This ridiculous stuff isn't in the holy books. In the name of God, people commit so many sinful acts and do so much nonsense. It's nothing God gave, no. It's all man's ignorance. That's why people get turned off by religion, is because people ruin it. Naughty, wicked, perverted, weird, awful, greedy, corrupt, dishonest people who are in gross ignorance and illusion, yet are wearing robes and in these positions of religious power and so puffed up with pride. Oh my goodness. I'm not saying everybody, okay, I'm not naming any names here, but I think every religion, every sect, every denomination, every group out there is guilty of it. Every one of them. Because we're all in this boat, in this prison house of birth and death, so we're already, every single one of us, foolish criminals. To be even in the material creation, right? The prison house of birth and death, we're all, committed the sin, envy of God, ended up here, right? Oof. Best to take advice or to inquire spiritual questions unto a holy person who's filled with love of God and who lives by the message of the scriptures, not their own opinions or beliefs or ignorances, but who follow and live out by the letter the instructions given by God himself, as lived out by past saints and spiritual masters before us, who showed us by their own example how to live out those teachings. Those are the best people to, of course, learn from and be guided from in life. Not people who are full of ignorance and hate and anger. I don't care what denomination, what religion anyone says they are. If they start preaching a bunch of anger and hate, I'm already turned off. Because they ain't preaching from the heart. They're preaching from negative thoughts of the mind. Ugh. Not of God, that's of the world. Worldly, mundane ignorance. Likewise, I couldn't give a hoot what religion you call yourself, or what you dress like, or what you look like. If you're speaking words of pure truth and love, and your heart's filled with all that joy and kindness, and you're actually living that message, wow, you have my attention and my respect, and I am curious to know what you have to say. Seriously. I don't care who you are. You're the most charming Dalai Lama. Oh my goodness. I'd love to hear everything you have to say, Your Holiness. Whereas this charming monk on a monastery on the side of a hill. Oh, you sweet devotee. I'd just love to associate with you and hear all of your stories and life lessons. You want to be happy, you ask a happy person. So, Mother Adash said, a sad saint is a sad saint indeed. It doesn't make sense, right? there's no such thing as a sad saint, because, saint is one whose heart is filled with love of God, who's not on the bodily plane, but they've reawakened to their original spiritual consciousness, and they are relishing transcendental bliss internally within the heart, which is independent of anything outside of the body. You don't need anything going on outside for these saints to feel pure love and bliss in their hearts, communing directly with God 24/7. They're never forgetful of the Lord. Yeah, these are the best people to learn spiritual knowledge from. Unfortunately, there's not too many of those. In fact, devotees of the Lord are quite rare. They're an endangered species. Especially in this dark age of quarrel and hypocrisy. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. When I first went to India, I thought, I'm going to this magical holy place, right? Boy, was I naive. Anyone knows. Oh my goodness. For every real holy person, there's got to be 1,000, fakes and hams and phonies. Oh my goodness. It is a sideshow galore in India. I remember at the Kumbh Mela, the largest gathering in the world. I was there in Prayag, Allahabad, in 2013. There was all these different camps, different spiritual groups that said, our leader is God. And this other group says, no, our leader is an incarnation of God. And the other guy's like, no, ours is an avatar of God. And I'm like, no. And they all start bickering and fighting, saying whose guy is God. This is the nonsense that's going on. Oh. And all these people who dress up like sadhus, dress up like holy people, they just go use the dress as a means to make your begging more successful. It's the look. Of course, I don't want to be offensive. There's so many holy, wonderful swamis and sannyasis and sadhus and mendicants all throughout India. So it is a magical land, but it's one of the most populated countries in the world. So yeah, there's a lot of spiritual stuff, but there's a whole lot of knick-knacky, patty-wacky, crazy stuff going on too. Anyway, I know I'm getting on this tangent, but yeah, these crazy little things like you heard, men not allowing women to even have their voice be said in the house worship. That's nonsense. Any other questions, guys? Got about 7 more minutes. Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, guys. Well, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for joining. All glories to Mother Natasha, all glories to Religion of Love, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to the Supreme Lord Jai.